Good evening. So I'm a child of the 60s, but I was not a hippie, not me. But I did use the word groovy a lot. This mic is groovy, this bench is groovy, all of you are groovy. You get the idea. I describe everything as groovy. So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and in the late 60s, 1970, I thought life was good and it couldn't get better. But then something magical happened, and it's something that changed my whole life. What was it? Disco! the rotating balls and the strobe lights, and I was really hip to that music, man. It blew my mind, and I wasn't even dropping acid at the time. And yes, it was groovy. And for those of you who ever saw John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever about disco, well, I wasn't him. Nor could I dance like him. Nor could I dance like anybody. I just don't dance. But I went to discos anyway. It just was a great place to hang out. And one night I went to a disco, and as soon as I walked in, I saw the most beautiful girl I had ever seen. And she was sucking on a Tootsie Roll lollipop. I have to say, from that moment on, I never thought of Tootsie Roll Pops the same way again. I stopped giving them out for Halloween. It was more inappropriate for children. But I digress. Back to the girl. So our eyes locked, we met, had the greatest night, never saw her again. To this day, I do not know what she did wrong. Not a clue. And that was the beginning of a very bad trend in terms of dating for me. I would go out with girls I liked. I thought they liked me. After one date, poof, gone. What was wrong with these girls? I want to know. I even jokingly told a friend of mine I would file a missing persons report before my next date. But if I ever did something crazy like that, which I wouldn't, but if I did, the cops then ask me, when was she last seen? And I'd have to say, tomorrow. That would not have worked out too well for me. So I got tired of the dating scene and decided to split. And I signed up for a work-study program on what's called the kibbutz in Israel. Interesting trip over there. I sat next to a nun who was going to be a missionary, and she gave me what she said was her best advice. That while I was in the country, I would be tempted. That's what she said. And I should try very hard to remain celibate. Okay. I thanked her. I was being polite. But I thought to myself, she said, remain celibate. What made her think I was? I mean, just look at me. I'm a stud, an Adonis. And I was better looking back then. So on my first day in the country, I met Mindy, who was from Brooklyn, New York. I went all the way there to find someone from my hometown. We hit it off right away. We were actually married a year and a day later. She was the love of my life, but not necessarily the love of my humor. I remember it was our second anniversary. We were living in Tarzana, California. Don't ask, another story. I brought home a cheesecake. I'm such a romantic, right? And on it was written, Happy Anniversary, Mindy and Jay. I even gave her top billing. I sliced a piece with my name on it and gave it to my wife. I sliced a piece with her name on it and gave it to myself. Yes, I know, I had the larger piece, but that wasn't the point. I then looked into my wife's beautiful blue eyes and said, Happy anniversary, sweetheart. Now I'll eat you and you'll eat me. Got the same reaction from her. At that moment, without saying a word, she made it very clear she then regretted saying yes 2 years earlier. Well, we were married for 32 years when she passed. We have 3 beautiful children. 2 of them are here tonight. Hopefully I'm not embarrassing them too much, but they used to it. I do have my 3rd child, my oldest, lives in a faraway land called Connecticut, and he was probably just too tired to come here and see his father before. That joke is for him. He'll get it, I hope. So I reached a time in my life when I'm looking back on it. The good times, the bad times, and the decisions that were made and so forth. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out why my wife, unlike those other girls way back when, did not take off after our first date. I never asked her that question when she was with me, figuring she would reconsider and then would take off. So I did not do that. However, it took me a while, but I figured it out, and it shocked me what the reason was. It turns out, from the day we met to the day we were married, we actually never went on a date. I didn't even realize it. On this kibbutz, we lived in a co-ed dorm with about 30 other students. We worked together, ate together. We just hung out for several months. So Mindy fell in love with the real me. She never met the dating me. So is it possible, those girls way back when who disappeared, is it possible the problem was not with them, but with me? Nah, I'm Jay Hall, thank you.